Letterman has actually trimmed the beard, so he doesn't look fully homeless anymore, which is kind of nice.
So now he just looks like he's under a bridge. Is that
right? He looks like he's on the way to homelessness as opposed to being completely ensconced and living in squalor for a number of years.
As opposed to ensconced in the Until of the Hun chair, the EIB network.
Ensconced in velvet, if it was
the only time I ever
acceptable.
heard that word used is Limbaugh using it.
Well, on the episode of Seinfeld, when George wants to wear velvet, he would be ensconced in velvet if it was socially acceptable. All right, I'm all shared. Holy crap, that's crazy. That's some nutty shit right there, dog.
All righty.
Let's do it.
Why does my face look red? Yeah.
You'll have to answer for that, pal.
What is that?
You still have some of the makeup left over from Fox 46?
No, I don't even know where it is. I lost it.
I think it's still in my closet. I think I still have some.
I mean, just looking at the background I sit in every day. Can you imagine I ever lose anything?
It's a fair point.
Yeah. And remember, this room is neater than many.
Well, I can relate to this, sir.
All right. It is the Brad and Britt cast. We're glad you're with us here. It is our second one. We count them every week, so you don't have to. Well, I got a list here, man. Do I have myself a list? And it's going to really drive you. You're not going to be able to pick.
Hit me with your list. Hit me with your best list.
Elon Musk wants you to have more kids, and buy a Tesla.
Oh, man.
Devin Nunes goes, Kissinger keeps milking Trump. Get it? Milking cows. Get it?
I
have to explain these. And why Megyn Kelly is the worst.
There's a lot to go through there. Those are three absolute winners. Let's start right at the top with Elon Musk, who wants me to reproduce.
All right. Interview. Day before in the Wall Street Journal. That will be Monday. Quote, there are not enough people. I can't emphasize this enough. There are not enough people. Low and rapidly declining birth rates are, quote, one of the biggest risks to civilization. His comments come as a growing number of people are deciding not to have children, citing concerns such as climate change, inequality, and the possible lack of a baseball season this coming year unless they settle their issues. All three things: climate change, inequality, no baseball.
From my point of view, it's I'm too fucking old to have kids. I don't have the energy to raise them. I don't know if that's on his list of things, but that's me.
Well, it's not directed at you.
Oh, okay, but I didn't have.
I know. I tell you what, I know it isn't directed at you because the next thing here he says that, quote, too many good, smart people, which excludes you.
I'm out.
Think there are too many people in the world and the population is growing out of control. It's exactly the opposite, says Elon Musk. Look at the data. If people don't have more children, civilization is going to crumble. Mark my words. Well, wait a minute. When civilization crumbles, there won't be any words or any of us around to mark the words, right? So anyway, that's his point. And I think that's a fair one. There's a big difference between him saying that. I think that's kind of just a broad statement because it does apply in general to the developed countries more. It's not just the United States; it's Europe, it's other places, and I don't. if somebody's going to try to play, well, he's being racist there at some. I don't know how you find that one.
I don't see that. I think he's being stupid.
Somebody will find racism in there if they want.
You can have stupidity without racism. You really can't have racism without stupidity. See, those are two things,
Strong.
right?
Strong.
Right. He's just and I know a lot of people are like, well, that Jeff Bezos guy, he's nutty and he's trying to be a space cow. Jeff Bezos doesn't do bullshit like this. He's not out there running his mouth and smoking weed and doing shit like this. This guy's in his own category of stupid, I think, to be promoting this kind of shit.
At Morgan Stanley, the big financial institution, they wrote a little note that says the movement not to have kids owing to fears over climate change is growing and impacting fertility rates quicker than any preceding trend in the field of fertility decline.
Mm-hmm.
To support their argument, they pointed to surveys, academic research, and Google data that shows climate change is directly and indirectly accelerating the decline in fertility rates. So it could be people are still getting up to the plate, but they're swinging and missing more, to go back to the painful baseball analogy.
I do hope that Elon Musk is supporting the repeal of Roe versus Wade, which is underway, so that when these women do get pregnant, they're forced to carry these things to term. That's what we need in this country: is women having less decisions over their bodies and more babies being born, particularly unwanted ones. That's I think that is the obvious solution, and I hope he comes out in support of Amy Coney Barrett and the idiots getting rid of Roe v. Wade, the onerous law that has governed our nation for these past 50 years, Brad.
I get your dripping, uneducated, pull out of your ass opinion on that, but we have no evidence that he said anything in public about.
Well, it's a stair step. I mean,
but I kind of like it.
Here's some more of the libertarian bullshit. It's like, all right, we want people to have more babies. Increase the price of birth control, and that's what you do. And vasectomies are now $400,000. All right, I'll teach you. We need to. It's just stupid shit. It's just him mouthing off.
18,000 couples studied in China last year. They even say in China, where the last time I checked, they didn't have any problem producing people over there.
No,
remember when you were in fourth grade and you would learn geography and the countries around the world, and China was a billion people.
A billion people. That's insane.
Right, and the United States had 200. Shit, there's fucking many people.
Huge.
You know what? I don't think that's changed that much. What are they? Like 1.3 billion now, and India has about 1 billion. They got a lot. If everyone stopped having children, then humanity would eventually cease to exist. Of course, a fringe group of anti-natalists believe that's exactly what should happen. That's right. They're called anti-natalists. Well, aren't they like those incels who've never had sex, never been with a woman?
Involuntary celibates, incels. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But most people don't share this view. Indeed, many people see having children as a fundamental human right and one that can bring happiness and joy to families. Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
It never disappoints.
Tully chimes in with, I wish I was that stupid and a billionaire. Well, we all do. We all wish we were that stupid. And part of me is like,
he's got six. So he's pulling his weight here. So
some could say that he can afford to be that stupid. I mean, that would be the quick and easy, down and dirty answer to that is he can afford to be that dumb.
Well, I know you obviously didn't put yourself in the position in your 20s or 30s or even 40s about having kids where people go, well, can I afford, if everybody who at any point said, I can't afford to have, civilization would go out of business. Okay. Because nobody can afford a kid. Nobody can afford, almost. They've been expensive. They always were expensive. They will be expensive, but to get that card on Father's Day for decades after, it's all worth it.
It is. It's absolutely. Well, I hope that these cars that Elon Musk is building will allow people to fuck inside the cars and they can reproduce there. So that's going to create more opportunities for eggs to be fertilized. Hopefully that's part of the grand scheme to get more kids out there. God bless him for doing that. Yeah.
What? If you fuck in a Tesla.
Yeah, while it's driving.
But just beneath it, of course, has this gigantous battery.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't there some kind of chance that affects your fertility? Is there something?
I got to say, there's no other podcast that's exploring this particular, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I don't. We need to do some studies. We got to figure out if this man is like contributing to the very problem that he's trying to solve, that he's bitching about.
All right. Enough of this. All right. Choose from these. Is Mark Short John Dean?
Good Lord.
Why Megyn Kelly is the worst, or Devin Nunes goes Kissinger?
I'm going to go with Devin Nunes. We got to figure out what's going on with this guy.
All right. On Monday, we learned that this cockamamie, fake, I believe it's fake, I believe it will never exist, this media empire that Donald Trump is building, which he really isn't building. It's just something like Trump Steaks or Trump University. It's a scam. Right. It's Donald Trump's name attached to something that will draw in morons who think that anything that Donald Trump is attached to should be funded. So they buy up the stock of this special purpose acquisition company that has partnered up with the Trump name. It's like putting your name on a fucking hotel, Trump Hotel, but it's really a Marriott or something like that. Okay, it's bullshit. There is no website. There is no network. There is no cable channel. There's nothing but the promise that Donald Trump will be able to suddenly connect with millions and millions of people again, bypassing Twitter and all these other evil media companies that have shut him down. Again, nothing exists except the money that flowed to pump up this bullshit stock deal, right?
Right. And the guy, doesn't he resign on like the same deal they announced they're being investigated by the SEC and all that shit? Isn't that?
Wait. So on Monday, the same day that the SEC says, you know, this doesn't look very kosher, what happens?
Sign me up.
Devin Nunes. And again, you and I have some experience in this. The most important thing when you take a gig in media is to get it in writing, get an and have a good agent. That's important. Right? It's very important. Why do I have a feeling that Devin Nunes is so stupid that on the word of Donald Trump himself, he said to Nunes, look, you're in California. The Democrats control the redistricting process slightly, or at least enough out there to fuck you over. And they are. So Nunes would have to run in a different district. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Nunes says, I'm just such an unpopular piece of shit. I probably couldn't get elected anywhere else anyway. Time to move on. So he quits now. And Trump promises him a gig at a non-existent, under investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission scam. Okay. The only thing that's left out of here is what is to become of Devin Nunes's cow, who became famous a couple of years ago when somebody started creating this. What was it? A meme? Was it a?
It's a Twitter account. It was a Twitter account.
Got its own Twitter account. It started commenting on it, and I did. The cow was already talking big yesterday about this whole deal. It was hilarious. It was great.
I think that was a good example of the Streisand effect, because they were trying to shut it down, and of course that made more people flock to it to see what it was all about. So it was, But you look at it, the news comes out, they're being investigated by 2 different governmental organizations for fraud. Yes, that's the ship that I want aboard. Sign me up. Well, I mean, and that's what he's doing. That's what this dumbass is doing.
Yeah, but it also speaks to the idea that Nunes, who, when you think about it, he really is not a very bright guy. He isn't even smart enough to be able to know how to do the kind of outrageous things to make himself really famous. He's not a household name. He's not like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Matt Gaetz or Gosar or Louis Gorm, the kind of guy who just mouths off and gets on TV all the time. He isn't. He's just an idiot. And even though he's that, he was in line to become chairman of the, you always have to use the word powerful, House Ways and Means Committee, if the Republicans were to take over the House in 2022. So he's walking away from that on a prayer that Donald Trump will treat him right, because Donald Trump treats everybody right. No, Donald Trump screws everybody. What's rule number 1, Britt, that we've always said? You do business with Donald Trump, you always end up crying. It's just a question of when, not if, right? So that's the story never ends, and it extends to, the mendacious Mark Meadows, who, if anybody ever thought last week when the story, Mark Meadows is going to cooperate, bullshit. He was never going to cooperate. He lied. He's always been a liar. People that work with him think he's a liar. The people who voted for him know he's a liar. He's just the worst of the worst. And now he says he's not going to cooperate with the House committee investigating what happened on January 6th. You don't know what? It's the Rodney Dangerfield event. He's not getting the kind of respect he deserves. He's not getting the kind of respect that he thinks he should get in relating his conversations to the former president as being somehow qualified to be executive privileged away. He says that's not respecting him. So he's not going to cooperate with them. Good luck. Good luck on that one.
He's done an about face, and it's if anybody ever deserved to go to prison and be shivved, it might be this guy. I'm over this guy. I'm over his stupid book. I'm over his stupid existence. I hope that whatever legal remedies are available to put this man behind bars and take his freedom away from him, I hope that they are exercised in full. I hope from now until the time he takes his last breath, he has to fight legal fights over stupidity because of what he's done and the allegiance that he's pledged not to this country, but to Donald John Trump Sr. I am so fucking over Mark Meadows. I am so over excerpts from his book. I'm just completely done with this man's existence on this planet, drawing the same air that I do. I'm so sick of this guy. I can't even tell you. It's disgusting. Megan Marie Kendall Kelly. You had a story about her being the absolute worst.
Yeah, you may have seen this. You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of people equating the wearing of masks with anything else. Okay?
What,
the wearing of masks is simply the wearing of masks. It is not Nazi Germany.
It's not.
Okay. It is not Hugo Chavez. It's not Halloween. It's just the wearing of masks, which is a proven way in the main to overall try to slow down the spread of coronavirus. It is not a political statement.
I want to clarify. I want to clarify this. The wearing of a piece of cloth over your face is not equivalent to murdering tens of millions of Jews, gypsies, and homosexuals. That's not the same thing. Is that what you're telling me right now?
I'm going there, Britt.
Okay,
I go there.
I don't understand you sometimes. You really, you're out there, but you're really out. I'll let you go on this one, I guess.
All right. Here's Megan Kelly. Could we do away with the masks already and increase testing? I just don't think masks are necessarily the answer. What? I just think they're so intrusive. I just think they're so intrusive. She said, while many don't have a problem with masks, those who agree with her, quote, loathe the face coverings. All right, here, hey, Megan, you idiot. Nobody likes them. That isn't the question, okay? That really isn't the question. I don't like toilet paper, but I got to use it. There's just no choice. It's just a thing. And
I want to drill down how stupid this is. Like, I don't think that seatbelts are the answer to vehicular manslaughter and traffic deaths. I think we should concentrate a little more on drunk driving. What do you think about that, Brad? People aren't talking enough about that. All I hear is seatbelts, seatbelts. Wear your seatbelts.
Yeah.
No one is. See, it's the ultimate straw man. Nobody ever said the masks were the ultimate silver bullet solution. It's part of the fucking solution. That's part of the solution. Putting the vaccine in your arm, another part of the solution. Sanitizing your hands, trying to socially distance when you can, making yourself as healthy as possible. It's all part of the great tapestry. I don't understand how these folks who accuse liberals of being triggered by everything coming and going have been triggered by pieces of cloth over their face. I don't understand that. I don't get how you can continue a year and a half later to work up a massive lather. And if you're walking around CVS without the mask on, you're making a statement for freedom or some bullshit like that. It's the most bizarre thing. It truly is.
Hold on to the arms of your chair, because it's not over here. She was speaking with David Leonhardt of the New York Times, the guy who writes the morning newsletter that goes out first. He's great.
Yeah.
He asks her what she personally dislikes about masks, which at this point he's baiting her, right? Just to throw out kind of a joke. What do you most dislike about masks? So here you go. When I'm not on the air, I usually wear glasses. They fog up all the time, and it's annoying. I don't want to have to deal with it. What, I never thought of that. See, the fogging glasses problem. I've been dealing with it for a year and a half, and I didn't realize that should be the reason why there should be no masks. Because occasionally, every once in a while, it fogs up, and you know what you do? You move the mask down a little bit, you take the glasses, you go like this, or you wipe it, and you put them back on.
Holy shit, you're a genius.
I know. I thought of that. I stayed out of the sun for 30 years, says Megan, so I could have relatively decent skin by the time I was 51, and I haven't. And I don't feel the need to hide behind a disgusting mask that can cause outbreaks. Outbreaks of what? You're fucking 51. Nobody gets... Fuck that. My skin looks better without that damn mask on. I don't want to hide behind it. I also just find it annoying. It hurts the back of my ears after a while. I don't like it. And I really hate seeing it on my kids. And what does it represent besides the physical impacts? Another thing I hate about it is I feel like it's wearing a democratic virtue signal.
There we go.
It has morphed into a political signal, and one that I don't support. I almost feel like I have Joe Biden's hand over my mouth. I want to say, get your hand off my face. I did what you wanted me to do for almost 2 years, and now I want to move on. You can't guilt me forever.
She's really
get worse. I told you. You didn't believe me, did you? It got worse, didn't it?
She's really put a lot of thought into this. She's put a lot of energy into this whole situation, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. And you wonder why she got her ass run out of
NBC
anything. And she's doing a fucking podcast. Okay.
God. In addition to appearing on Sirius XM satellite radio, she's apparently pissed off Don Lemon of CNN. Recently, Megyn Kelly invited some idiot onto her show who accused Don Lemon of sexual harassment. Don Lemon has sent a legal letter to Megyn Kelly saying, what the fuck are you doing? You didn't challenge this guy at all. This stuff is not true. And you have some sort of personal hard-on toward Don Lemon, just like you have a personal hard-on toward the guy who invented masks. Knock it off. Knock it off, you dick. That's what Don Kelly's been saying to Megyn Kelly. This was the other thing over the past few days since CNN fired Chris Cuomo. I thought, CNN was saying, well, your ethics are not good enough and you can't stay here. But I thought Sirius XM was like, we're good. You can stay on here. But he's going to leave the Sirius XM show as well. So they're not able to keep him on either. I'd hope that there was an ethical floor that would be able to catch him. But apparently Sirius XM satellite radio is it's right there.
No, and by the way, he has decided at this point he wants to spend more time with his lawyers.
That's a bizarre story. The story came out that he's going to sue them for at least $18 million if he doesn't get his contract paid out. And those stories are thrown out there.
That's not bizarre at all. Why is that a bizarre story?
Well, the bizarre part of it is that those stories are out there for a reason, and he needs to feed that to some bullshit outlet in order to kind of prop himself up. That's in order to keep himself somewhat relevant.
The money, personally. I don't think it's about property. I think he just wants the money.
I believe right. Unless something's really fucked up, he should be okay on money forever. He should be all right.
But you don't know that. You have no idea.
I got an idea. Unless something's going on there, but then you put the story out there that those guys better pony up, or we're going to have some problems. I don't know. I think it's time for you to just go away. I think it was time. Even John Gruden waited like 6 weeks before he put his story out there about wanting his money. Even that guy waited a little while, and he's got, he's a dick. So,
I'm on the side of talent here, Britt. I know you take the side of management, as you always
hey,
do.
if he gets his money, he gets his money. I'm happy for him, man. I don't think it's going to break anybody. Since we're talking about the variant here, we're talking about COVID in general. Pfizer CEO was at a Wall Street Journal kind of roundtable thing today. They said, well, it's, we got some initial data. We don't know exactly what's going on with Omicron, but it looks like it's more virulent. It spreads more easily, but it doesn't look like it's as bad. It doesn't look like it makes people as sick, and the fatality rates don't seem quite as bad. And the Pfizer CEO said, wait. That's not necessarily the best news. Hold your horses. If it spreads faster, it could infect more people, and then that could hold up some things for other mutations to form. So before anybody goes nuts and thinks, it's not a bad deal. Again, I'm getting ready for, the media has overhyped the Omicron thing. I'm waiting for that criticism, which is frankly in the on deck circle. Everybody.
Well, actually, it's cut. Well, that could be because it's true. Because last week the sky was falling. The sky was falling last week. But
now,
I think your broader point is correct here. I think that the Pfizer guy is also correct in that whenever news really looks bad, it usually isn't as bad as it seems. And whenever news suddenly seems a lot better than it is, there's always a yeah, but blah, blah. And this is the yeah, but. So it might spread more easily, but it might not be producing as bad a disease. And it might also pave the way for other variants, which, again, if only 8% of Africa is vaccinated, it's trouble city over there. And, trouble city over there means trouble city over here. It's just a question of when it happens. I got a thing on this, and this goes with this idea that the United States is the only major country, I think, in the world. We stand alone in not giving any credence to people who claim and seem to believe and have some, but not any kind of really conclusive evidence that if they had COVID and they have what they think is natural immunity, that they should be treated exactly like people who are vaccinated, fully vaccinated plus one, but that the natural immunity is not being given enough credit. And my question to those people who somehow think that that's a license to not get vaccinated because you had it at some point, let me ask you a question. How long will that last? Okay, so if you had COVID in March of 2020, right? We're now more than a year and a half past that. Do you still think you don't ever need to get, you think you're good forever? You know that's bullshit. You know that is bullshit. And the problem is because people are never going to be able to carry around a card that said, I had COVID at this point and it confers this kind of immunity on me. And different people have different levels of natural immunity if they have recovered from COVID. The only intelligent, safe way, even if you've had it, is to still get vaccinated. And for you to still not be so stupid as to say, if you got a breakthrough case, well, I got vaccinated, but I got COVID anyway, so I'm never going to get vaccinated the rest of my life, because that's proof that they don't work. And of course, the fact that you are still alive and you recovered may very well be because of the vaccination that you got beforehand to get the breakthrough case that you recovered from. So people are, I think they're being misinformed here.
Oh, big time.
In the case of Europe, they have not shown any kind of real evidence that just because you had it, you are equally immune from getting COVID, especially now with a new variant moving around. What would make you think that whatever kind of natural immunity you got from the first version of the virus, the spin-off version, kind of the good times rota version of the virus. That was the second one that came out, right? And now we're into the third one. So you really have to have a leap of faith, and you really have to be so encumbered by the idea of spending whatever amount of time it takes to get vaccinated right now, which is not very long for the most part, to think that an illness you had a year and a half ago that has changed and morphed since then into something else, that you still have equal or better protection than those who have gotten vaccinated. I mean, I think the golden protection is people who have been vaccinated get a breakthrough case, recover, and then get that third shot, get the booster, the third shot, whatever you want to call it. That would seem to be the best of all worlds. I would recommend not playing that game if you can help it. And when you get vaccinated, hopefully you don't catch it at all, and you still get the third shot, or the second if in the case of Johnson & Johnson, and you go from there. And you do be careful in indoor situations, and when you go shopping, and when you're close to people, and you do still wear a mask. You're not virtue signaling anyone. You're not showing that you're better than anyone. And I'm telling you, I can see it every time. I'm going to the gym today. Now, today, I predict there will be fewer people wearing masks than there were the other day. The other day, there were about half the people. A couple days before that, there was hardly anybody. So the mask percentage, the wearing of mask percentage at the gym is directly correlated to whatever is in the news in the last 24 hours, however people feel. So since on Tuesday, the headline is what you started with, which is, yes, it spreads more quickly, but whatever kind of COVID you get from it may not be as bad or dangerous, which probably has nothing to do with us, because we haven't seen a case documented in North Carolina yet. Probably out there, but still 99.99% of cases that would be floating around near us are Delta. So you're no more safe from Delta today than you were a month ago or 2 months ago when you might have been wearing the masks. So people are using sometimes government edicts to do what they want to make them feel. And I think it's bad. I think where we are, they really blew it when they 3 weeks ago lifted the mask mandate for indoor space. It gave a lot of people license to not wear masks. And do I like wearing a mask when I'm on a fucking treadmill huffing them? No, I don't. But you know what? I do it.
And by the way, the entity that does that, and at least in our area, it's a Democratic entity. It's the Guilford County Commissioners, and they are run by Democrats. And I mean, I'll just throw that out there for whatever it's worth.
I understand that. It isn't always as cut and dried as Republicans are stupid and don't wear masks, and Democrats are smart and wear them. It's not that simple.
That's right. Really a lot of times it is, but in this case, it's not necessarily.
Right. Well, but in the broad sense, it is, because you've certainly seen the numbers that the death rate of COVID in the top 10% of counties that voted for Trump is 6 times higher than it is in the 10% of counties that voted heavily for Biden. So
you shit on this when I said it like a year ago, but people are starting to come around to my way of thinking. They said they're killing off Republican voters. These people, with their policies and with their attitude and everything else, they're just killing off Republican voters in a lot of these places. So I mean,
why did you start your sentence with? I said this a year ago and you shitted on it. I did not.
You did. When I would say this stuff and you were like, "Oh, it's not going to affect an election," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know if they start killing off a bunch."
Hang on, that's the difference. It is not going to affect an election enough yet, because remember, since more people die in those heavily Republican counties, they have to kill off a lot of them to get numerically to. In other words,
I have great faith. I have great faith it can get done.
Right. We're going to call it viral gerrymandering. Okay.
It's viral gerrymandering.
Right. Where you kill off enough people in your area that are like you.
Joe Biden has carried Miami-Dade County because, well, there were just a lot of dead people that couldn't vote for him. And see,
Right.
they're going to change their minds in the Republican Party about those dead people voting. Which, by the way, when they went back and investigated all this stuff about the fraud from the 2020 election and the dead people voting, most of those dead people were Republicans. I don't know if you saw that. That's what happens in state after state after state. It wasn't a lot of people, but it turned out many of them that dead people voting thing was a Republican thing, as you recall. You were talking about natural immunity, and I've been looking a lot about this in the Joe Rogan, Donald Trump Jr. America. This is why doesn't Dr. Fauci talk about natural immunity? Well, I'm reading from various sites. This one is from the University of Nebraska's medical school, but you can find it anywhere. The data is clear. Natural immunity is not better. I'm reading directly from their site. The COVID-19 vaccines create more effective and longer lasting immunity than natural immunity from infection. I don't know how much more clear that can be to people. I don't know how much more clear that can be to human beings that natural immunity is great. We love it, but it's not as good. It's lesser than. I know we're doing fair and balanced America. With vaccine, natural immunity. They got to be exactly equal. Got to put them on the same. No, they're not. They're not. The medicine and the science have shown, the data shows if you get vaccinated, it lasts way longer, you produce more antibodies, et cetera, et cetera. I know that hurts people's feelings, and I'm sorry. I hope you go in the corner and cope. But that's just the reality of the situation. If you're a first-year medical student, you could see that shit. I'm not shitting on natural immunity. I'm very happy. Anybody that I've ever talked to anecdotally or seen posts from, and they've gotten it, and even if they've had what I would consider to be fairly mild cases of COVID where they were not hospitalized, what have they said to you, Brad? What have you said? That you don't want this shit. Don't get this. It's bad. It's affecting me still. I'm still carrying it with me. Everybody who said that.
Right. In other words, the completion of that thought, I think, is since I had it and it was terrible and you don't want to get this,
right?
The completion of that is, therefore, you should do everything that you can to prevent yourself from getting it. Oh, did you have it a year ago? Yeah, I did. Well, you know what would be a good idea? To layer the vaccination immunity factor on top of whatever your natural. They don't fight each other. They help.
They complement each other.
It's like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Peanut butter and chocolate just go together. And what do you get? You get a better candy bar. You get a better snack. You do. You do. Separately, they're good. We like peanut butter. We like chocolate. But damn, you put them together, and you've got one of the iconic brands of all time.
Two great tastes that taste great together. Natural immunity and vaccination. But it's over. All of this is overall very much a part of the death of expertise and the shitting on expertise. That's what you got. And that's part of why Donald Trump even rose to being what he is. What do all these fucking politicians and these government guys and all these diplomats, what do they know? I'm the guy that can come in here and just not. And the doctors don't know anything. I'm an expert. And the judges don't know anything. I'm the guy. And that's what we're doing. Nobody knows shit except this. And then I can just say whatever.
I think you're even underselling that. And here's why. Because day after day, week after week, we learn more about how close Trump came to dying when he got COVID, when he was in the hospital, when we all suspected. Remember how we were all suspicious of those gang press conferences where 12 doctors would stand out there and 10 of them would stand behind the one or two that were speaking, and you just could look in their faces and they were rolling their eyes. They were looking in another direction. When the head doctor, I think it was Sean Connolly, I think was his name. That was Trump's doctor after the great Dr. Ronnie Jackson left to serve America, now as a U.S. congressman from Texas. But you could tell that they knew that this was bullshit. And we, of course, learned very quickly that all of them have been signed to silence, to no compete clauses, to no disclosure clauses kind of thing. So you don't hear them talking about it, but it's turning out that we always find out the truth ultimately here. And that Trump was near death, and that he should have been put on oxygen immediately. And that apparently he wanted to stay in the White House and just have them bring a tank in there and have him roll around like you see that shit they sell on TV at night, right? But
He's just with a little. He's this close to being in an iron lung from like 1952 or some shit. He's no. They had him propped up in the bed. They stuck the IV in him with a Regeneron shit. Meadows had to, again, this is why Mark Meadows is an absolute piece of shit, had to just beg him to go to the hospital now so that we don't have the sight of you being carted off on a gurney. He goes to the helicopter, the whole thing about him going, well, he goes to get into the vehicle to go to Walter Reed, and he was going to carry a briefcase. He drops the briefcase, doesn't have the strength to pick that up. That's how fucking weak this guy was when he gets in that vehicle and heads over to the hospital. It's absolutely and completely bizarre. We have no reason at all to ever make fun of Kim Jong-un again, because this was like complete propaganda prop up bullshit on Trump's behalf. And this is why he and Kim Jong-un were such kindred spirits, right? Mm-hmm. This is why they were exactly alike. I believe you had a Mark Short item you wanted to finish us up with.
Yeah. There's a name that you didn't hear all that much while Trump was president. He was Mike Pence's chief of staff, which is, of course, why you didn't hear that much from Mark Short. He would be the guy who they would get for the Sunday shows when everyone else was out of town and there was nobody left that you could speak to. He would be that guy. But my recollection of seeing him was there was something off about him. He seemed to be spouting the bullshit, but he spouted it in a very articulate way. And now we know that he knew that this was just a disgraceful administration, that Donald Trump was a disgraceful human being. And he was right there with Mike Pence on January 6th when Trump essentially said, go ahead, hang him. I'm not going to get in your way.
Right.
And it turns out that, again, of those 250 people that we know have been cooperating, forget Mark Meadows, forget Bannon, there are all these other people who had equal or better access to the facts of what was going on then and the previous 4 years than even those two. Because Meadows wasn't there the whole 4 years, right? He was only there for the last year and a half. So Short was there the whole time. He was Pence's chief of staff the whole time. So he was there. He was in the room where it happened. And he's talking. And he easily could be the John Dean of this situation.
Interesting.
Because number one, he will be a very credible witness. And we're just waiting for a name like his to, I mean, to me, he is equivalent to if we found out that Kellyanne was talking. If we found out that after all this time, Kellyanne really did agree with George Conway, her husband, who's been just killing Trump for 4 years. And that, by the way, if she did that, if it turned out that she was that person, would she get forgiveness and places of honor on CNN and MSNBC forever? Would that allow her to cross back over into polite society if she spilled the beans completely, let her rip on Trump? Because she knows the truth. She's been quiet the whole time. You haven't heard her name for how many months? And you know what? That's a bad sign for Trump.
I would think so.
Someone like her disappears, and she's never been shy about getting in front of the cameras or writing something. She may be writing a book herself right now. How about that? As painful as it is to watch Merrick Garland move at the speed of molasses, and the shit that he's getting from Democrats who are just disappointed that he hasn't been tough enough, just maybe hold out the hope, hold this hope out that he's not as dumb as he looks, that he does know shit, and then he is smarter than you and I, and he's a better lawyer than you or I. And he's a better lawyer than most of the lawyers who are criticizing him. And he was a better judge than most who were judging him. And that maybe he does have a timeline in his head that is going to work out. Just hope for that to be the case. Hope for that to be the case. Don't know whether it's true. We do a lot of things based on hope right now. But when a name suddenly spills out like Mark Short, you go, hey, fucking A. Hey, come on, man.
We're ready for you. Come forth.
That's a real player. All right, what else we got here?
I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I don't want to go with Bieber would have played Sun City.
Yeah,
He played in Saudi Arabia last week. They told him not to fucking go there, but he went there. But I don't even count. He's Canadian anyway. Who cares, right?
Well, World Wrestling Entertainment continues to do lots of business with with the government in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Well, if you'll pardon me, guess what? It's just wrestling. All right.
It is just wrestling, yeah.
Right. It is just kid.
They are carrying the propaganda.
Yeah. One more here. Hang on. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Let's see if it's this one. No, it's not that one. We'll do whatever it was tomorrow. I won't even say what it was because that always is stupid to say. I was going to do something, but I didn't do it. If it's good, I'll bring it up tomorrow. Okay.
If it's not, we won't.
If it's not, we won't. All right.
Fuck
so
it.
We will see you then. Thank you very much. I am wearing pants, and I plan to wear pants tomorrow. Okay?
You don't have to though. We're doing holiday rules.